Now, Jake, I want to start today by spinning the wheel of non-East Coast, the non-East Coast wheel. So,
I love it.
Yeah. So, what we've done is we've created a wheel, and it's got all the states that aren't on the East Coast of Australia, because we are a little bit biased towards the East Coast here. So, let's just
and territories as well, we should say.
That's right, and the territories. Let's name them just so that people can remember what they were.
So you got you got Victoria, you got South Australia.
No, I think we're going to stick with Victoria being on the East Coast.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Well,
Fair enough. Doesn't have any East Coast, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
It's got
I don't think so.
East Coast.
So it's got South Australia. It's got
I'm going to have to
Western
rename
Australia,
the wheel, Jake.
South Australia, Western Australia, and Northern Territory.
Canberra?
Where? Yeah, okay,
What's
all right.
that one? No,
but
ACT?
Canberra's like right in between New South Wales and Victoria.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to have to really rename this wheel. Okay, so Western Australia, South Australia, Northern Territory.
Yeah.
I'm going to put ACT on the wheel as well.
Okay.
Right,
well, should we also put Tasmania? Like, I know that they see a lot of the East Coast as well.
Yep. Jeez. Nearly lost all our viewers from rural Tasmania there.
Almost. From Texas?
Texas and New South Wales. Now, okay, or is it in Queensland? Is Texas
Queensland.
in Queensland? Queensland, sorry. Texas.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, it's Baghdad.
Baghdad is in
Tasmania.
Yeah, there's definitely a Baghdad in Tasmania, which is hilarious. And then there's a Texas in Queensland.
Yep.
And there's others.
Yeah, there's others.
Okay. All right. 12 minutes in, Jake. We haven't even got to any of the news.
Okay,
I'm going
we had to
spin
rename our wheel of non-East Coastan news.
All right, I'm going to spin the wheel. I don't think the viewers can see it at home, Jake, but that's okay. I'm going to spin it. All right, ready? Oh, and it's landed on Western Australia. Well done,
fantastic.
Western Australians. Oh, Western Australians. All right. So, Jake...
It does occupy a large slice of the wheel, given that it is a large state.
Yeah, everything's in proportion on the wheel.
Yep.
On the wheel of whatever the hell it's called. Now... Okay, so we're gonna. I want to know about Clive Palmer, Jake. I want to know about the situation with Clive Palmer and what on earth is happening with the Western Australian border. I even resorted to watching a Friendly Geordies video on the Western Australian Clive Palmer situation. So I have a very yelly, screamy type of view on this situation at the moment. But I don't fully understand what the situation was. I was hoping that Jordan Shanks would explain it to me a little bit, but he just sort of ranted and raved about Clive Palmer. So tell me a bit of background.
And the Friendly Geordie guy has a bit of an interesting storied history, you might say, with Clive Palmer.
Okay.
He was sued by Palmer, I think, for referring to him. That's right, yeah. Referred to him as, I can't remember whether it was bald or fat or something like that, but either way, yeah. Anyway, so we won't resort to anything like that. But yeah, look, Clive Palmer has launched a couple of weeks ago a challenge against the Western Australia border, the hard border closure that Western Australia has with, pretty well all other states in Australia.
Okay.
But of course, Western Australia is one of those very large mining areas, and it has very rich mineral deposits throughout. And one of the I suppose mainstays around mining now is that people, that we have our FIFOs and our DIDOs, our fly-in, fly-outs and our day-in, day-out workers who just travel to do their day of work or their week of work or whatever it is, and then, travel back home. But the nature of the world at the moment is that with hard border closures, those working in all of the non-Western Australian states and, are unable to go to their Western Australian roles to be, to work as in their mines. And same, vice versa. If they're currently working in those states, they can't get back to their other states for fear of not being able to return. So,
and this has made Clive, it's ticked him off?
Well, I mean, I don't know whether Clive actually owns any mines over in Western Australia or has the prospect of owning mines over there, or is just being a great global citizen for all of those miners around Australia who want to do their job and see their family too. But either way, he launched this challenge, and very quickly the Australian federal government got behind that legal challenge to the Western Australian border closure.
Right.
And so added you might say a significant amount of weight to that legal challenge. But earlier this week, the federal government decided that they would withdraw from that legal challenge. And
Why? Why, Jake?
Well, essentially, it's just not in the spirit of the game of things.
Right.
It's just one of those things that is not done.
Is part of the premise that the government have been pretty good at allowing states to make their own decisions along the way, and they sort of maybe felt like it was a bit too heavy? Is that part of it, do you think?
Look, it's possible that that's what it is. I would say that, along the way, the federal government, certainly certain ministers have targeted the premiers of those states anytime a sustained border closure has been enacted. For example, there was the, multiple attacks from Peter Dutton on the Queensland Premier and the Queensland government because they had their hard border closure.
Right.
But, essentially it seems to have done exactly what it meant to do, which was keep COVID out and keep the state operating. You've seen similar things with Victoria now. Everybody's criticized, everybody's piling on Dan Andrews now.
It's fun to do, Jake.
Well, exactly.
You just
We've
bounce
got more
back
stories
from his
about that.
North Face puffer jacket anyway when you pile on.
He has, yes.
It's like a big trampoline.
But yeah, it is really interesting. I do think that there was an element of so-called states' rights. The federal government perhaps shouldn't be getting involved in this. But of course, the federal government.
I just think where I've gone wrong is I actually thought that the government was supporting Clive, but the government are supporting Mark McGowan. They're supporting Western Australia.
Well, previously the government was supporting Clive.
Right.
Previously the government was supporting Clive, and earlier this week when they pulled out of that legal challenge, they decided, nope, we're going to tell Clive, buddy, cancel it. Stop it. Okay? Please, stop it. It's just not cool. Actually, Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Finance Minister Matthias Cormann urged Palmer to drop the case. Yes.
Okay. All right. So and Mr. McGowan, I've got a story here on ABC News, which is from 2 days ago. Mark McGowan urges Scott Morrison to back fresh trial in Western Australia's coronavirus border fight with Clive Palmer. So the key points are that the federal government has withdrawn its support for Clive Palmer. The Western Australian government wants the case vacated.
Yeah,
you could vacate a case. And a new trial ordered. The Commonwealth is no longer a party to the case.
Yes.
Christian Porter said. Okay.
Yes, the Attorney General. Yeah, look, it is an interesting one.
So now it's pile on Clive.
Well, I don't know that it is pile on Clive. It's just, if Clive's going to do it, he's going to do it, and he will do it.
Yeah.
But the federal government won't get behind it. Essentially, the federal government's doing a little bit more of that whole, somewhere between states' rights, and it seems to be working in Western Australia. So let's just let them do what they need to do.
Yep. Okay. All right. That's good. And just as a side note, Jake, while I was on the news website ABC, there's a very important story on here. It's a trending story. I thought, well, what are people listening? What are people reading this morning? And it's got here: Jackie and Temujin are in love, but face judgment and criticism for their age gap. So really hard hitting news there.
Yeah. How old is Jackie? And how old is
Jackie is 61, and Temujin is 27.
Wow, yeah. Temujin is a great Alaskan name.
Yeah.
Indigenous Alaskan name.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. How do you know that?
There was, Temujin. It's a Mongolian name.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Mongolian name. Yep.
Anyway, so there you go. They're facing criticism for their age gap. Meanwhile, Clive Palmer.
Clive Palmer is challenging Western Australian borders.
He loves it, doesn't he? He loves a good court challenge.
Loves a good challenge. Loves a good. Your microphone is doing a bit of a.
Oh, is it crackling, Jake?
Tickly bickly boo.
Has it calmed down?
It has stopped.
Excellent. Will you keep me
It
updated
has ceased
on that?
and desisted.
I'll stop bumping it. I wish I was as confident with Clive Palmer as going to court and doing all these things, like it just seems such an easy process for him to follow.
Yeah, look, I think it has to do with a number of things. Number one, his wealth.
Are you saying I'm too poor to go to court, Jake?
Well, I'm just saying that he's a lot less poor than either of us combined. Over the next 50 years of earning money, he's still got a tremendous amount more.
True.
So look. The fact that he's got quite a bit of cash, the fact. Look, I do wonder whether this is Clive being a good global citizen and trying to open up things for miners in general, or whether this is a thing that he does actually have interests in Western Australia that he's trying to open up to. But it is one of those things that he is challenging, and he may not win. It's probably not a strong case, but because look,
he loves publicity too, doesn't he? Like he loves the show.
Well, this is the other side of things that he did announce this week that there will be a number of Palmer United Party challenges in the Queensland Parliament elections later on this year. So, potentially this challenge, although it has absolutely nothing to do with Queensland, is a way of getting into the news at a time while the focus of the people in power is squarely on their performance in terms of keeping coronavirus at bay.